Are we here? What happened?
Oh, we're here. We're here, Ed. Okay, guys. Sorry, I had myself muted for a little bit, but welcome, everybody. It is July 4th, Saturday of 2020. Now, what I was saying originally, when I didn't realize I was muted, was it's 2 days after the Constitution was actually signed. If I remember the history that I researched, it took a couple of days to get to the outlying colonies, basically, to get the information out and everything. So they just said, hey, let's do it on the 4th of July. So everybody who is out there and able to celebrate, because over here in Oregon, the Spanish female canine queen wannabe has basically strong-armed and bullied almost every town out in Oregon to not do a 4th of July celebration. That means no fireworks from the cities or towns. That means no parades, no celebrating the birth or the born day of our nation, because they are trying to destroy this country. Now, Ed doesn't know what I was planning to do here, but I'm going to do it anyways. Just remember, everyone, they're trying to destroy the country because they hate America. They hate what it stands for. They hate the idea that you have freedom, that you are an living man or woman out there. They hate the idea that you have the mind of your own and you can see past their bull. So, with that, Ed, sorry you're not going to be able to talk for a little bit longer, because I got something I really want to share with everybody.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
I remember a teacher that I had. Now, I went through the 7th grade. I went to the 7th grade. I left home when I was 10 years old because I was hungry. And I used to, this is true. I work in the summer and I go to school in the winter. But I had this one teacher. He was the principal of the Harrison School in Vincennes, Indiana. To me, this was the greatest teacher, a real sage of my time, anyhow. He had such wisdom. And we were all reciting the Pledge of Allegiance one day. And he walked over, this little old teacher, Mr. Laswell was his name. Mr. Laswell, and he says, I've been listening to you boys and girls recite the Pledge of Allegiance all semester, and it seems as though it's becoming monotonous to you. If I may I recite it and try to explain to you the meaning of each word. I, me, an individual, a committee of one, pledge, dedicate all of my worldly goods to give without self-pity. Allegiance, my love and my devotion to the flag, our standard, Old Glory, a symbol of freedom. Wherever she waves, there's respect, because your loyalty has given her a dignity that shouts freedom is everybody's job. United. That means that we have all come together. States, individual communities that have united into 48 great states. 48 individual communities with pride and dignity and purpose. All divided with imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common purpose, and that's love for country. And to the republic, a state in which sovereign power is invested in representatives chosen by the people to govern. And government is the people, and it's from the people to the leaders, not from the leaders to the people, for which it stands. One nation, meaning so blessed by God, indivisible, incapable of being divided, with liberty, which is freedom, the right of power to live one's own life without threats, fear, or some sort of retaliation, and justice, the principle or qualities of dealing fairly with others, for all, which means, boys and girls, it's as much your country as it is mine. And now, boys and girls, let me hear you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance: under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said that is a prayer and that would be eliminated from schools too?
Now, you'd all just heard that. Now, here's something I need to point out. 1, we are divided now. We're not indivisible. Because we've got all these groups out there, special interest, special me crap. They don't even care about what is good for America. They care about what is good for them and their little groups of friends. And there is a group out there, or multiple groups, but they're all part of one big conglomerate of groups that basically are just trying to destroy everything, and they've gotten violent. I mean, I try not to say who they are, but it should be all lives matter. Just to point that out. The thing is also, why, if they claim that is what they are, then why are they allowing their own, what they're claiming matters, die off? Hell, they're even killing them themselves if you don't have their same ideology. It's effectively, they're nothing but hypocrites. They just want to see the world burn. And as I've said before in the past, either do it and go all the way, or don't even bother. So with that, Ed, why don't you take it away?
Thank you. We'd like to thank you all for joining us tonight. And I want to first start off and saying everybody keeps talking about freedom. Okay? This is supposed to be our day of freedom. Where's your freedom? You buy a car, you pay registration. You don't have your paperwork together, show me your papers, you go to jail. See, this is what gets to me about when people claim freedom. Whose freedom? What freedom? Why is there freedom? It's like I always say, what God? Why is there a God? Whose God are you talking about? Because my God was different than your God, because my God has power, because he has the Constitution and the Indian treaties. Your God has a book that has no power to it. And see, this is the frustration we live. This ain't a joke. We're living this stuff, and it's crazy. You know, and then we got arguments. Now everybody keeps going on this Black Lives Matter. I've never heard of a more racist group in my life. And everybody keeps talking, oh, Black Lives Matter. Look at the racism by this group. Think about it. I'm thinking about starting a Facebook page called Lawful Bloodline Natives Matter More Than, with a couple question marks. And I think I'll probably do that this week because, I mean, I get so disgusted listening to all this racism shit in a country we're supposed to be free. And all these people say, oh, we're free. My children are free. Your children ain't free. Your children can be taken any time that the school district says boo-boo.
Point of fact right there. Right. Point of fact right there. Yes, technically the children are free for the taking.
No, yeah, that's true. Free for the taking. They got to make a living somehow. And that's the point that people don't realize, that all this stuff and the stuff that happens to children is based on crimes. You know, and that's the one thing you got to realize. Everything's based on crimes. Because crime is commercial. Crime pays because it's off your birth certificate funding. So they draw off of that income for your birth certificate funding to pay themselves. And that's the point that people are not comprehending. How do these people get paid? By your birth certificate, by you paying them, by you doing it. You know, and so that is the one thing that people don't comprehend what freedom is. You know, you got a house payment. You decide you're not paying taxes, they're going to shoot you off your land. You know, so that's the one thing that is disgusting. I'm fighting that myself. You know, and so, and even though I've served the right appropriate papers, doing the right thing, and I constantly get attacked because they keep telling me, like this terrorist, Cape Brown, says, if you don't pay me, you die. If you don't like it, we'll send a state out, take your children, and we'll rape your children for money. And people don't think that children get raped. And it's like, Jesus Christ, how stupid people are. It's all based on money. Why do you think the state cannot jump in to protect your children? Because the police department's not there to protect you. And when people sit there and keep going on and on about this stuff, and especially, all these lives don't matter. It's only one racism. One race matters. So this is the disturbing thing. You talk about racism, you're losing racism. So what are you going to do about that? See, and that's the one thing that frustrates me. We're talking about a day that we're supposed to be free. Then how come, if we're free, how come you haven't filed your rights yet? How come you yourself haven't done it, claimed yourself? So you're not free. You don't have nothing because the lawyer can only represent a corporation. So if you file to own yourself, you got to go to court. Now you got your papers because you're a corporation. You need somebody to represent you. And here's your corporation charter. Remember, a lawyer has to represent a charter of a corporation. So you have to write your charter up. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm looking at doing a couple business deals, writing up things for a couple businesses to start up. And so when I'm writing this whole thing up, and eventually I'll put it out to the general public, but I'm writing this thing up because, see, if we're supposed to be paying and doing all this stuff, how come we're not protected? See, just a little simple matter like that. And see that we can protect ourselves. And that's up to us to do it. And that means you have to claim your status. And I think I posted up on the Facebook walls, and I've got that, and I'll be putting that in the letter that I'm going to be putting together. You have to claim your status, and I've got the letter on the status structure. You know? So that is the thing that we're dealing with, this crazy stuff that's going on. And people always talk about, we got to save the Queen, you know. And it's like, we're morons. The Queen is not our problem. Cape Brown is our problem. And so how do we get around it? See, that is the point. We've got these issues, and so I'm working on some more stuff that I'll be posting up. And so we can start working on these things and claiming this stuff and making sure we have some standing. Because you have to prove the standing. Because if you don't prove the standing, you have no standing. And that is the point. We've got to prove our standing. So once you know who you are, and that's the point. Most people don't even have a concept who they are, what their religion is. You know, because everybody keeps going, my religion is this, my religion. You don't even know what your religion is. Because you're going by somebody else's religion. You're not going by your religion. See, and that's how simple this whole thing is. You're following somebody else over the let's just say, the cliff. And so this is the point that we're living with, all this craziness. You know, and it's like there's a good point that was brought up dealing with masks. Hey, I wore a mask. It's on my arm. It's on my shoulder. There's a mask. I'm wearing it. See, I mean, and this is the point how redundant this crazy shit is. Now, with this COVID virus, this stuff was already pre-written. This was already set to happen. And you try to explain this to people that this was already there and this was going to happen. They already put it in administrative rules. They already put it in laws. They already put it in funding. And if people, oh, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. They can't do that to us. They wouldn't do that to us. That's what shows me how ignorant the general people are. They're so ignorant. Because when you're saying that it doesn't affect you, when it affects you right now because you haven't had a job or you got a job, you know, so, you know, that's the one thing that, you know, you got to know. You know, so, I mean, these are the one things that come down to the circumstances of what, why, and how. And so you're dealing with the how right now. How do I get around this one? How do I go shopping? You know, some areas, you know, people have been nice and their grocery stores have been delivering food for people over this stuff. Not all stores are doing that. You know, there's stores that you go do some stuff online and buy different products and they'll ship it to your door. But I mean, you know, now we're taking from the local economy again. You know, and that's the one thing. For the last 40 years, we've been destroying our economy from the inside out, and we call ourselves free. You know, I mean, right now, we got so many people out of work, and people say we're free. But if you don't have a driver's license and you travel, you ain't free because you get pulled over, you get ticketed, you get jail. Then they go off your birth certificate, straw man account. And I get people all the time say, there's no such thing as that straw man account. Yes, there is, and it's even written in the damn laws. They read the laws sometimes. Read your administrative rules sometimes. Comprehend this craziness. See, we are really living in a crazy society today, and I hate using the word society because I came from England. You know, we were living in a crazy structure of our present world today. And what are we going to do about it? Not much we can do about it. We just have to go for the ride. And that is the saddest part. We're going for the ride, and we don't even know where this train's going to go to. We don't know where it's going to stop. We think we know anything. We think we know something, but we don't know anything. See, and that's the point that when people sit there and they start judging people, you know, oh, Black Lives Matter. Wait a minute. What about my life matters? What about the Native Indians' life matters more than the blacks because the blacks were brought to this country, weren't they? Natives weren't. Oh, they're going to argue. The natives were brought here. Yeah, but they've been here for 2,000 years. You know, so this is the thing is that we get so wound up on so much bullshit. Instead of standing up and say, our lives matter, your life matters, my life matters. You know, and then we're going along with this racism that we're being dictated to because it's racism. And then you say you're not a racist, but you go along with it. Then you will say that, oh, then I have rights. What are your rights? Who gave you your rights? When you get pulled over by a cop, are you on that do not detain list? See, this is what stuns me with people. How do you know what, why, and how? So, but anyhow, this is what we're going through right now, and so this is the thing that put together. File your rights. Prove your rights. So when you start getting harassed, you have your papers. And remember, a lawyer has to represent a corporation, cannot represent a man, woman, or child. An attorney cannot represent man, woman, and child. So how come we don't sit there and do the research and know this stuff? Because I know we've been wrongfully educated when it really comes down to our school system, because they want to let you know what they know. And that started, we've been wrongfully educated since 1968, and started really in 1972. You know, and then in the 1980s, we got this one kid couldn't be smarter than the other, so the kids had to be dumbed down. So let's not forget that point, because the kids are so dumb today, because they're still running on a ninth age education, you know, that's not really educated. It's not like a ninth grade education that was done in the 40s or 50s when the kids weren't educated. You know, back then they had education and then they went to work. And today, for a kid in high school to go find a job, that's going to be hard, because he's got 5-to-1 options that are coming after him. Because you got to remember, you got all these other people want a job, so you got all these other people that are going to be going after that position. So, and you're lucky if you're going to get in a position. So what are we doing to our children? We're walking them through this structure. And then we tell the kids, oh, don't do this and do that, just comply, don't argue, don't do this. And they get standard growing up, just comply, do what you're told. They don't know anything about their rights. And it's the parents' fault. The parents are liable. The parents destroyed their kids by not educating them. You know, that is the one thing that is so interesting. You know, and they're always talking about all these people who are dying by this alleged virus. Well, it's not alleged. But did you get a flu shot? How much has that been tested in the flu vaccinations? So I've been after them, and I'm trying to go after the hospitals. I've been asking them, how many people that died that had a flu shot? We can't do that. And then, I don't know if you're aware, about 8 months ago, well, actually it was last year, that came out, but anybody who dies with the coronavirus, is set up to, oh, that's right, you don't die from the virus. Oh, everybody dies from the virus now. That's right, because they passed administrative rules, so everybody dies from the virus today. And see, this is the point, that we don't see what they do. We don't see what they actually put us through. They already wrote this stuff that anybody who dies today is dying by the virus, so they go after the federal funding and drain the strawman account. Yes, we do know it's real. We do know that. We put it up there. We have the paperwork, and we've been able to do that and do the research so we know our own financial structure. And that is the one thing that you got to realize, that this is a card game that you're playing right now. You know, I mean, I get so disturbed when I keep watching these commercials that, should we have Obama come back? Should we have Obama come back? You know, what the heck are these people talking about, this domestic terrorist coming back that destroyed our country? Because he gave the Muslims all of our disability funding. I mean, when Obama took over office, he cost every immigrant, not every immigrant, every disabled and elderly man or woman on Social Security and disability, 30% of their income straight off the bat. Plus, he took away their vision and eye and medical and their vision and dental plans and gave it to Muslims. Yeah, that really did happen. I know. I watched it. I went through it. I saw so many other people go through it, and we're sitting there going, how we just got screwed. And this guy's out there telling the world from Kenya that's not even an American, because Hawaii, they claim he's born in Hawaii. Well, under Title 28USC3002, he was born in Hawaii. That's a British foreign executive country. So, you know, that he had clearance. Was that filed? I don't think so. So this is the problem that we're going through with all this craziness and this COVID virus coming up, and they keep telling you, if you don't wear a mask, I mean, we're watching people getting arrested now for not wearing a mask. We're watching people even being assaulted for not wearing a mask by these people on the street. You know, and you don't wear a mask and people are hitting people in the face over it. You know, this is the society that you want to live in. This is a society that you're programming for your children to be brought up in. Well, that must be a very proud deal. You know, our grandparents, if they would have saw this, they went through the influenza virus, they went through other stuff, chicken pox, they went through the measles, the mumps, no different than this. Because you could die from the other stuff just as well. But see, the problem is nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about the real issues. And so how do we start making sure we can talk about the real issues? You know, because everybody's so scared. You know, people are terrified right now to even go out in public. You know, they don't want to sit there and be judged. And that's what we're doing today. You know, if we're not sitting there judging somebody, we got to come up with some line to come up with something else. So, you know, we're always attacking people that are around us. And we're watching the kids going through this stuff today with what the Democrats are doing and the Republicans, because remember, they are just as guilty. They could bringing out the laws. They can know how they write the administrative rules, so they're not being able to bring it out. So this is the problem. What are they going to do? And that's the problem that you need to talk about your public employees. Now, this is the one thing that I'm going to be putting in this thing because, see, if our representatives, okay, if these people are our representatives, then if you go to court, how come they're not representing you in the court law? Because under, what was that deal? I don't have it in front of me, administrative rule, that the attorneys, the Bar Association owns you. So seeing that the senators and House of Representatives make administrative rules, so they're not following anyways, but, you know, you should be able to go in and request them in writing to represent you in court. Your representatives are already paid. They're already paid by their job employment as a senator, House representative. Even a mayor is paid that way. A county commissioner, they're a representative. That's the one thing. Ask your representatives to go to court and represent you. You know, seeing that you don't have a living man involved. And see, that's the point. You don't have a living man involved in that point. Or a living woman. You have a fictitious corporation. So, seeing that there's a fictitious corporation, how come we're not standing up to it? You know, and then on this day, everybody's talking about, I'm free. Driver's license, auto insurance, you pay court fees. I file my court fees because I got to pay it worse because you don't have to pay court fees. And so, when I suggest things to people, I send them that. Put it in your paperwork. See, it's up to you to put it in your paperwork. There ain't nobody else, and the one thing you always got to say is, I object. You know? So that is the one thing. You always got to say object. And yes, you can sit there and call fraud upon the court in the court. Yes, you can sit there and tell the judge that he's violating his oath of servitude and you want to see a copy of it. See, these are things that people have a right to. You know, people are going out there and disrespecting our flag. They're throwing it on the street. They're stomping it. Well, in some regards, I guess I can sort of see their point. Because it is a war flag that was fought under destroying the Native Americans. Killing off the Native Americans. Over 100 million natives were murdered in cold blood by that flag. By settlers that came from a foreign country, not Americans. And we're living that right now today. We've still got that structure with foreigners dictating to you how to live. You know, most of these public servants are foreigners. They're not even Americans. and you're out there defending these people, and they're saying that they're Americans. I mean, it's interesting that I don't see people out there who are defending you. See, and this is the problem we have. We're not sitting as Americans. We're out there saying that we have these rights, but, prove it. I mean, that's the one thing is I get my paperwork out there. I post the stuff up on Facebook. Remember, Facebook is a legal post because everything you put on Facebook can be brought into a court of record. And that's already been proven by the Supreme Court. And so, yes, you want to be able to have this stuff out there by the Supreme Court. You want this proven recorded record. Because now you can bring it up and say, I put this out there, nobody disputed it. And don't forget, when you file your paperwork, always file it with the local museums. People say, oh, you don't need to do that. You got all these people out there trying to tell you what to do and how to live. But what about making your own decisions? People say, I made a choice. A choice is not a decision. Decision means you have to be responsible and liable. A choice means, hey, I just threw the rock in the creek and it caused a wave, so, oh, well. See, it's one of those things that how do you solve this? And see, I mean, this is the other point that I have fun with these lawyers on these lines, like Chris Ann Hall. She's a lawyer out there. She's sitting there telling everybody how to defend themselves, but she still goes by the book of Judeo. Everything's Christian to her. That's a foreign government as a lawyer. And that's under, what is that, 1938 Foreign Administration Registration Act. She refuses to register. She's made that clear to me. We don't have to register. See, these people don't care about your country. And then you praise these people online. You praise these people, oh, they've done all this wonderful stuff. What have they done for you? Nothing. See, that's the one thing. You're sitting there, getting these people going back and forth and bullshit. And they ain't doing nothing for you. And it is true, because, I mean, we don't have an Independence Day when we got people that are walking across our border coming in here and stealing our food and our water and our jobs. And see, that's the one thing that, once you realize this stuff, how it comes out and how it affects you. So this is the one thing about 4th of July. What are you going to do? Preserve it for your children. How are you going to choose and educate the children that are around you right now today to let them know that they have freedom? How are you going to educate them so they know that they have a right? And then how are you going to educate them how to talk to their elected and public servants knowing their right? See, this is the one thing that people don't get it. This is the one thing, it's like, people saying the Act of 1871 was repealed. No bullshit. Sorry, Ann, but the bottom line comes down, we're living that bullshit right now, today. The District of Columbia is still running this stuff, still running it through the police departments. That's what amazes about all these people out there. Says, I'm so educated, but then again, you've got these agencies still running, still raping, still destroying people's families, and they're out there defending these people. My question is, how much they getting paid? See, I mean, I always keep looking at how much these people are getting paid one way or the other. You got to look at that point. How much are these people getting paid? Who's paying their electricity and water bill? And we know under Title House Resolution 192, your water and electricity bill is supposed to be paid. We've got that. We're putting that together. We'll have that done here shortly. But see, this is the one thing that you got to start looking at how the future is developing around you. How are you protecting the future? See, that is the one thing. You got to protect the future. You know, everybody keeps going about this American flag, and it stuns me. You know, it really does stun me about the American flag, because the American flag then still fought in every war. You're flying the war flag. How come people don't fly the peace flag or NATO flags? Everybody's got to fly the war flag. You're at war. Everything's a war. You're at war at all times. You have no rights. You have no freedoms. That's what I'm saying, you know. Unless you're able to travel on the street. It's like, oh, this sheriff, he's out there protecting our rights. He's a constitutional sheriff. I call bullshit. He arrests you for driving without a license. He ain't a constitutional sheriff. What kind of morons are out there that's saying this shit? We already know who they are. We've been watching them for years on the internet and the media, the news stories of this bullshit. Oh, we're out there, but we got to keep the economy going. Your economy just got crushed, you know, and it was done deliberately by the Democrats and the rhinos, or whatever you want to call them, the Senate and House of Republicans. They did it deliberately to crash the economy so they could claim your straw man accounts and take the interest off of them and put it in their accounts to go party on. That's exactly what these people are doing. You know, and then, I mean, come on. You got Pelosi worth over $100 million. And how do you become a senator making, you know, $275,000 a year worth $170 million after 50 years in office? See, that's the point. You know, how come these people are still in office? The original Constitution structure of 1878 and the first court hearing in 1789. The first court hearing, the senators were allowed a 2-year term, and the House representatives were allowed a 4-year term. That was it. You weren't allowed to go after that. You had one term. You weren't paid. You got paid while you were there. And then when you left office, you didn't get a retirement. That was the difference of a republic form of government compared to a democratic terroristic government we have today. I mean, you know, the disabled, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, how bad is the disabled being attacked? If you're disabled, you don't have the resources to get a driver's license. You don't have insurance. You don't have the other medical stuff to get your other medical work done, like your teeth and glasses and those things. And so, and then they say, oh, you should be lucky. Well, you know, if the disabled got their settlement payments instead of going into the fund account of the Bar Association as well as Workmen's Comp Board when the states started forming those back in the 1980s and 1990s, because prior to that, when an injured man or woman got injured on the job, if you worked for the state, they had a set fee on it. And if you were the private sector, you got a settlement right there. You didn't have to go to court. You got a settlement. That's what they used to do. Sometimes you had to go to court to prove your case that you were injured, but most of the time they don't. Now all they do is they put you under the workman's comp system, tie you right into the public trust, put you in the public trust, so they can drain off your straw man account, your Social Security number, your Social Security account. So they can drain off that, and you don't even know that they're doing that to you. I mean, it's a wonderful system that they developed, how to take the money and run it right in a circle right around you. You're in the middle, and you can't even see them running a circle around you with that tracking numbers and everything. I mean, I had a gift card that was sent to me. And it was a Walmart gift card. Let me tell you, never get a gift card from Walmart because they want your Social Security number. If you don't get it, you're not entitled to get the money. I'm like, and I got to go, and I've got to write this up, file on Walmart, $1 million lawsuit on them. And I'm going to take that in court, too, because giving my Social Security number to a foreign government, Remember, Walmart is not American corporation. It's a China corporation. I don't care what any of these assholes out there want to tell you the lies about the bullshit. China bought Walmart out 15 years ago. You got American stockholders, puppets, I mean. But why do you think Walmart stocks all the China stuff? How do you think they're rotating it around and keeping that money really floating right in house? And then that's how China is buying off your public lands. Even though on the West Coast, under the Treaty of 1846, and I encourage you folks to read the Treaty of 1846. Really read it. Because in that treaty with the British government, we're not to pay taxes at all. It says we are not to pay property taxes in the original treaty. Okay, but everybody says, oh, we have to pay property tax to keep the corporation going. No, that's a lie. Because your birth certificate straw man account keeps the corporation alive because that birth certificate is a banknote. So they're putting that on their stock exchange, so they run that through. And that runs through the municipality exchanges too. When you get pulled over for a ticket or if they give you any type of citation. You know, trust me, I know I've had the city try to write citations for me on my property. You know, and I finally got that one. You like I told them, you have that public employee called the code enforcer come on my property again, you know what's going to happen. So we've already had our battles here in the city of Toledo on this stuff. I've got other battles with them right now. I mean, I left town 2 weeks ago. And I had a cop that was stalking us before we left. He drove by my front yard, my house 3 times. Then he waited for us to leave. Then he basically pulled us over at gunpoint because anytime a cop pulls you over, it's at gunpoint because he's got a gun on his hip. You don't know what he's going to do. See, you got to step out of this movie and start coming into reality. Because, you know, these are armed assassins when it comes down to it. Now, I do give a pat on the back for those elected and public employees who honor their oath of servitude, Title 5. And we do have them out there. And that's the one thing, when we have good public service, always remind them and thank them. But these crooks, you got to file on them because, see, if you're not filing criminal charges on these terrorists, they're going to go after your family. You remember, they're all in the web on the internet communication link. So it doesn't matter where you go in this country. With your Social Security number and your birth date, they can track you anywhere. You know, that's why I was against fiber optics when they put that in 30 years ago, because it was a tracking device, because when they were putting chips in your credit cards, you could walk down the street and they could tell you what you were. Of the strawman account, of the smart meters. Samsung TVs. They got smart chips and smart readers on that. They can even watch you in your home. And there are videos that have been taken down, but there's some videos still up there that people actually caught them filming them in their own home. Say, and you think you're free. See, you go down the road, you got all these cameras that are watching you, and you think you're free. What freedom do you have? You know, if you do something wrong, they're at your door. Or what they think is wrong. So that's why it's so important to write your charter and keep it with you. You know, and if you have to do corpus electi, habeas corpus, write one of them up. There's plenty of them online, for an example. Write one of them up. See, you already got it pre-done. All you have to do is put a date on it, but put today's date on it. You already have one that's certified today, and then you have a backup copy ready for the date that you need it. Well, I'm not saying you're going to need it. We don't want to participate that we're anticipate we weren't going to need it. We want to make sure that we got it in case we need it, so this way we cover the ass. See, this is the problem. We're not taught this stuff. Schools used to teach this education 40 years ago, but schools don't teach nothing today. I always find it extremely disturbing when they have police and firemen day at the schools. Let's go get the kids. We're going to teach the kids that, come to us. Tell us your family problems. We'll put it in the computer. Mommy doesn't like daddy because he smoked a cigarette. Okay? And they put that stuff in a computer. Your name, you don't even realize half the shit that they put in your computer. That's why when I talk to people that are dealing with, children cases, you want progress notes. And people go, why would I want the progress notes? Because the progress notes are what they're writing to see if you're doing their plan that they want you to do. So you get a progress notes. You want to know all the paperwork they're writing on you. And you don't think so. You think, oh, I've never had any issues. Somewhere there's a piece of paper on you somewhere. And people say they can't do that. Well, wake up to reality. Hello. And you say you're free. See, it's like, when you go to court, you're supposed to be free when you go to court. How come you're not filing the court cases of the court that says I have a right to go to court free and you have to pay those fees? And they come up and say, no, you don't get it. You have to pay these fees. Or when you go into court, you want copies from the court and they're going to charge you 25 cents a copy. Well, they're doing that to you. Well, now they prove that they're a corporation, so they're not for you. They don't work for you. So you have to file a form, and I don't have that one right in front of me, but there's a form that you file because all corporations, including courts, have to file in the IRS department that you've got this. See, they do this stuff. They do this stuff. So you have to really comprehend how this world works, not what you think on TV it does. And we do recommend a movie here, Interstate 60. Explains a lot how your courts work. And that's the one thing, you got to watch that movie, and it explains your court system really good. There's other movies out there that explain different other parts of your government really good, too. And so this is the point that when you step out and you start saying how I'm free, I haven't walked around here in Lincoln County with my one of my sidearms on my hip in, 4 years? I've been comfortable walking around with a sidearm on my hip for most of my life. And see, this is the point. Now we're getting to the point where everybody's teaching the children fear over arms. Oh, these shootings. Oh, come on. How come you didn't raise your kid to teach him how to fight? Oh, my kid got bullied. Well, teach your kid how to fight. They won't get bullied again. Can't do that. Oh, we got to have emotional law. So that way you can't stand up for yourself. You have to go to your representative, public servant, that's a teacher or whatever. They're supposed to represent you when you have an issue. You're not supposed to be able to handle your own affairs. You're not to be responsible. Because your public employees union says, Kate Brown says, you're not to be responsible. Put everything in my hand. Kate Brown come out with his order says that, everybody has to wear a mask. But she's only done it in a very few counties in the state of Oregon. And then she came out and said, oh, everybody's going to wear a mask. But it's still really, if you actually read it, still those same counties. So, there's so much conflicting bullshit by your elected and public servants, your slaves. And remember, your credit card, you're a slave there, too. If you got a credit card, because you go into debt, now you're a slave. Debt slavery. We already said that there was, at the Civil War, we said there was going to be no debt slavery. That was part of the Civil War. We fought the British government to the north again. Hello? We fought the British government in 1812, too. Then we fought it again with the Laramie Treaty, the Indian Treaty of Laramie. See, that's the point. People don't care about history, and then you wonder why you're getting screwed. Because you don't know how to stand up for yourself, and you're not educated to know what the real facts are. And the only way you're going to do that is research, and by doing that, it's your responsibility to teach your children and yourself. So we're going to make it a short one tonight because it is July 4th. People want to get out and go do fireworks. We do appreciate everybody that's been with us for the last, I think it's like 300 shows now. So, we want to thank everybody for being a participant. I want to thank all the new members. We've had, since I've been gone the last 2 weeks, we've had over 200 new members throughout the Facebook sites. And so people are slowly coming in on board. They're getting it. They want the research. I email that stuff all the time to people. So I put together a lot of structure. And also to remember the hospital boards are liable. And there are forms that you can fill out. Make sure the board members are liable and they have to pay their bills. I can't bitch. Sometimes you find good hospitals. They take care of you. So when you got hospitals there to take care of you, take care of them. It's like your public servants who are honorable. You take care of them. And remember, doctors and nurses are public servants. There is no such thing as a private sector in the public service because they all get state and federal tax funding, so they're still a public servant no matter what they want to try to claim. I've already posted the laws up on this stuff. We know it. And don't forget, Kaiser pays their doctors $400 for every time they vaccinate. So does Blue Shield. I don't do vaccinations because all these people that are coming up with the disease all got vaccinated. I haven't seen one case where nobody got vaccinated that was passed on that they were vaccinated. So and your vaccinations always have the structure in the shot to see if you have a reaction. Remember, we used to go through that in the 70s when they used to give us a chicken pox shot. And they had to say who got the chicken pox. My mom said, I ain't going to give the kids vaccinations. She took us over to the neighbor's house who had the chicken pox. We played. We all got the chicken pox. So we were over it in 2 weeks. Yeah, it was itchy. But we were over it. We never got it again. We went and dove into the structure. So it is interesting what's going on. Now the young kids are getting all these all these kids, from 21 to 37 are coming down with the coronavirus. Like I said, kids, how many of you got a shot? Vaccination shot. Did you check the MSD sheet on that shot? Did you see the chemicals? All your shots have feces in them. You got to look at this shit. They put this shit in you. But nobody does the research on this stuff. They just go get the shot, and then all of a sudden they get sick. Oh, I'm going to go pray to God, even though I should have prevented it. So that's the point. People forget their responsibility to themselves, too. So with that, let's go ahead and open up the floor. Hello? Guess he slept.
All participants are unmuted.
Anybody would like to speak up?
Ed?
Go ahead. The floor is yours. You going to bring up some of the topics you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, in a minute. First, earlier you said something about charter. When you go down to the county clerk or county commissioner, aren't those people supposed to be chartered? Shouldn't you be able to get something from them?
Right, they are chartered, but that's the one thing. You want a copy of their charter. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You want to ask them in writing, and this is the problem I have with so many people. I called them, I asked them, and they said no. And I said, did you put it in writing? No, I didn't have time to put it in writing. You have to put things in writing. So I put it in writing and ask for the charter.
Yeah, as long as I've been listening to you, there was something I was supposed to do on a certain case that I was working on, and
Yes.
it was after a meeting or after one of your shows. I stayed after, and I was talking to somebody else, the bear hunter, and he brought it to my attention, and he says, "Well, did you write it? Did you send it to them and write them a question and asking them, mail it off and send it to them?" And I was like, "No." And they said, "You always got to do that." And I was like, "Damn." And I've been hearing you say that. And it's one of the things that I think people don't really think about. I mean, you can say whatever, but if it's not in writing, it never happened.
Well, you got to remember, before World War II, everybody wrote letters. Nobody made phone calls, really, even when they had phones in their home. They still wrote letters to their family members. They didn't just call them.
No, but I think everybody's thinking that, before all this lawyer crap started up,
Right.
Men were honorable. When they said, yes, I'll do it, and they shook hands, they kept to their word. Nowadays, nobody keeps to their word. That's why these lawyers have been able to take over so much, because then they put everything down in writing. And apparently, we're either oblivious to know how to do it, or just too daggum lazy. That we need to, writing, doing like what you're saying, write it down, mail it to them, get it, and then make sure it's return receipt, so that you can see that they did get it, because these are the small steps that they're going to be asking you about. Saying, well, how do you know they got it? Because they can stand there and say they didn't get it. Everything now, people figure a way so much easier to lie about everything than actually turn around and be honest about it. Because
Right.
Nowadays, nobody has honor.
Mm-hmm. No, that's the point that we have that we haven't developed. That we've been, you can sort of say, hypnotized into this, because we get talked about it on TV, radio, all your TV stations. That's like the Super Bowl wants to get rid of the national anthem. And it's like, because some people kneel instead of standing. Well, when people kneel to the national anthem, isn't that like you kneeling for Jesus Christ? See,
Yeah.
people pull this stuff out of proportion because he shouldn't have knelt. He showed disrespect. He showed respect for the flag, the war flag. He knew what he was doing. And that's why when you have the yellow deal around, the cops have the yellow deal on their flags now, that's a maritime flag they're wearing. So that's why when they come up to you, I don't answer questions. You work maritime. You're not a public servant. And then that's where you have to ask them, did they file their rights in the 1938 Foreign Administration Act? Yes, and they did extend that. They did redo the 1938 Foreign Administration Registration Act.
They did?
Yeah.
Because I haven't found it yet, but I mean, from what I understood last time, Congress did not extend it under the FAR Act of 1938, and I was like going, no, that they need to keep that, because with all these lawyers. But then now I've heard that supposedly they are going to be doing some retraining for all the judges and policemen, since they are foreign agents.
Well, yeah, and that's coming from Trump.
Yeah.
That was an executive order that Trump signed, but nobody wants to talk about that one when Trump was the one who redid the 1938 Foreign Administration Act himself. So that's, we have the structure here. Quote it, use it. They wrote it, we need to quote it.
My
go ahead.
I'm not. I was going to say I'm not the strongest on research, but I do seem to catch wind of or see things that comes across. The research part is where I have a lot of problems with because trying to find all that stuff. But yeah, I know.
So did I email you the last thing I put out?
No, I haven't gotten an email from you.
All right, send me a messenger deal so I get your email again. And
Okay.
I'll send it to you because what I've been putting out on the birth certificate and insurance fund, I walk you through how to look this stuff up. And now the other point that we're going to be working on to put this stuff together so we can start filing on these things. So that's
Okay.
our next point. Now, we finally broke the deal. We've got it. And then, see, that's the whole thing is like for the last 3 weeks, I don't know what happened to Chief Black Cloud. All of a sudden he's there. We're working on paperwork, and then he disappears. So it's like, and then all the work that we had that we're working on is in limbo. So seeing that I just got back from everything I just did, now I got to go take the limbo paperwork and put it all together. Because I thought we were working on something, but I have no idea where he disappeared to. So it's, things like that, shit happens. So, and we are going to get this stuff put out and get it together.
Yeah, because it really would suck if Trump didn't get it again or second term, because if he doesn't, then they're going to, I know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to start going back and re-rigging everything Trump's already done, and then we're going to be in a worse situation.
Oh, people have no idea, and if they go back and put that, the structure back of Obama in place that Trump is undoing right now, so we're not paying the Muslims, so we're not paying Judeo. People don't realize how much you're paying to these foreign countries.
Yeah,
people
I know.
Have no idea. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, they have no idea that these countries are getting all this tax money from the United States, but they're going to sit there and all they know how to do is complain. Oh, my taxes have gone up. Well, do you know why? Because it's going to other countries.
You're paying them from other countries. I mean, and then you got to look at what they're doing in Minnesota. They're still burning the town down. Or Minneapolis, I mean. They're still burning the towns down. And it's like, all these people talk about Black Lives Matter, and if you look at them, it's most of the black people that are burning their own town down.
And that makes no sense. If Black Lives Matter, then why are you doing damage to
It makes perfect sense because the Bush, Hillary Clinton, and Soros Foundation is funding them. They just got nailed on their tax structure. They just got nailed. Black Lives Matter shifts it off to, they have a GoFundMe page, but then they have 3 other outlets they put the money to. There is no Black Lives Matter foundation or structure. There's 3 other fundings that it's all followed by. So it's interesting when you start looking at the who, what, whys, and hows.
Yeah. No, what I was talking about earlier was I was watching this TV show, a series, and this person brought out a very good point, and it was talking. She's supposedly a college teacher, teaching her students, but she walks up on them and sees that they're looking at their tiny screen still. She has a class outside, and they're on their little tiny screens, and she's like, I thought this would be a good time, for y'all to get fresh air and look around and actually notice what's actually going on. But apparently, none of that really matters because you're too busy liking people's comments, and they're liking yours, and people you've never even met before. And they're so oblivious, so hypnotized by this little screen and what other people have to say about them, or what they got to say, or what they like to see, or something like that, that they don't know that there's a tiny group of men that are buying up all types of property, stripping this earth of all its minerals and everything else, and then turn around making stuff from it and then selling it back to us with water and the air we breathe, and we line up like sheep going, oh, okay, yeah, okay, that's great, not knowing that they're poisoning us with that stuff that they're selling us. Because we don't wake up and look around and start researching. Instead, they're so busy, you know, liking the next TikTok or checking out the next whatever platform they're on that's supposedly popular at that time, that they don't know their own rights. But then they're going to stand there, and the oxymoron is that they keep saying, I have rights, but they don't know that they just gave their rights up. So then these lawyers and judges are sitting there actually laughing at us while they're turning around, reaching behind and grabbing out all the money from our own pockets or our banks, and then they turn around and reach over, double dipping into the straw man account, and they're just setting themselves up for when they retire and for their kids, because we are so dumbed down that we don't really care. We're just like, oh, but we have rights. We're gonna protest. Protest what? Like you've always said, protesting is whining. Don't stand there and whine. Stand up for yourself. Children whine. Adults actually take responsibility for their own actions and start saying, hey, you can't do this. And the problem is that with this technology, the government's been doing so many things behind our backs that we don't even know what they're actually doing. We're just like, oh, that's what they're supposed to be doing. Are you sure? I mean, people they just assume. They don't know. It's like a lot of the comments that people put on Twitter and Facebook, and they sit there and they'll argue with you to their dying breath of stuff that they think they know, but in reality, you turn around and you put it in front of their face, that doesn't matter. They just will not accept the truth.
Even when they lie about it and you put the truth in front of it, then they want to argue it again when you just embarrass them and they don't know how to comprehend it. Go ahead.
I agree. Yeah, they don't know how to comprehend it. They don't know where to go from there. And the thing is that instead of people just like, really? You know, kind of, because, I mean, when I first started hearing about it, I was like, no, this can't be happening. This sounds like a TV show or a movie that's really gone bad, that these people are doing this stuff. There's no way. And it's so hard to twist your mind over to be able to accept what you're actually watching or what you're reading, because it's like, but that's not what I was taught. That's not what they said in school. That's not what they showed us. And then you go get out of school, and that's not what they said in college. That's not what I learned. Because they've computed us to learn their way, and that's all we know.
Right.
And we just accept it and say, hey, it's okay. I got it. I got good grades. I was top of my class. I know what I'm talking about. Do you? Did you really read everything? Because, see, it's like the interpretation of the Bible. That's why you got so many churches out here. You got your Baptists, you got your Catholics, you got your Protestants, you got all these people out there. If the Bible said it the way it was supposed to be, then what's with all these different religions?
Well, everybody else has got to be different.
Really?
That's the point. I got to be different than you. See, that's where I have fun with one religion, called Mormon. Moron. Because they didn't start until 1846, And now they're saying that's of Christ, but we go by the Christian Bible. Wait a minute. What Bible are you going to? How come you had to create a new religion?
That's what I'm saying. What's wrong if God supposedly put it in man's mind, then what was wrong with it in the first damn place that you have to turn around and change it to manipulate it to fit your narrative? That's the only thing I see, is that y'all manipulated it to turn around and create a different religion, because that's not what you like what God said. So you have to change it. Oh, I can't do that. So let's rewrite it. Oh, yeah. We got the original Bible here. Come here. Let's learn it. And then all these people are like, oh, yeah. So to me, it looks like there's different levels of religion. You got your strictest religion, which I guess Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, supposedly the strictest ones, or is it Amish? Anyway, you got your strictest religions, and then it just starts falling down. It starts going down. It gets a little looser. Oh, okay. Oh, hey, I can have more than one wife. Oh, hey, I can do this. Oh, hey, I can do that. That's what I think. It just fits people because, like what you said, we all got to be different. No, because that's not what God originally meant, supposedly. He wanted you to turn around and do it this way. You're trying to change something, and remember, we're imperfect. So how can you change it and make it better? The same thing that the Congress and senators are doing. They're trying to tear apart the Constitution because it doesn't fit what they want.
That's right, and that's the whole point, that all these people want to say, we want to get rid of the Constitution because we came from a foreign country and ain't done the way we were taught. And if you don't like our country, go back. We don't want you.
They don't want to. No. Hey, I want to be free. Well, hey, with your narrative, take it over to Venezuela. Take it over to Colombia. Take it over to Africa. Because
those states will take you very happily.
Yeah. They'll accept you with open arms. Oh, okay, American. Kill them.
Yeah, we're going to America because, we're going to be free. How'd they come up with this point that they're going to be free? You're coming into our land and you're telling us how to live. And you're saying you're going to be free, but we don't have the rights to be free. We don't have the rights to carry sidearms or AK-47s walking down the street because, that might offend a child. I want to offend that child. I want to have the child to come to the real reality. This is the real world. Wake up, little babies.
Well, see, back in the 1800s, children used to turn around and go out hunting with their dad. You never heard one word about a child committing suicide or shooting their relative with a gun. Why? Because they were raised around it.
Not only that, guns were laying on the counter, on the fireplace, in the kitchen, in the bedrooms.
And they knew not to touch it. But see, again, it didn't fit their narrative. Now they turn around and put it. What is it? They've got 20-something thousand gun laws, and still crime is going up. Explain that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know another thing. What was it, with Chop, Chaz, whatever the hell that daggum autonomous place was, people got killed. Well, are they going to defund the Chop police? Huh? How about defund the Chaz police? Are they going to hold those people accountable for those people getting killed? I mean, that's what they said. No cops can come in here. We're not going to have guns. But then people were walking around with guns. People got killed. Part of the problem right now is because, again, Congress and the government decided to step into people's personal lives and take away corporal punishment, which was keeping a lot of people in order. But now, whoever this daggone major whiny baby was, turn around and says, "Oh no, you can't do that. You can't corporal punish your child because that's child abuse." There was a father that was in court one time, and they arrested him for child abuse. Judge asked him, why did you spank that child so much? The parent turned around and told the judge, flat out, either I can deal with him now, or you can deal with him later. And that's going to cost taxpayers money. And to me, I think it's a lot cheaper if I do it, because I've got an unlimited trees with switches. These people have turned around and just basically, they wonder why there's so many problems, but that it's because they're taking things out of other people's hands and saying, oh, that's not good, that's not good. Doing drugs. What dent have they done in this war of drugs? They haven't done anything.
No, they've killed more people on the war of drugs. They've put more people in slavery and in jail, destroyed more families than the drugs ever did. And see, that's the point, is that people don't get it because they go, oh, they got to save this for the drugs. And it's like, that's the point. The drugs is your problem because you just admitted you're not responsible. There's no such thing as a drug addict. You're saying you're not responsible. You don't want to be responsible for your actions.
See, I went overseas, and I was over, what was it? I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, I was in this country. People were walking around smoking marijuana like it was nothing, and cops rode on their bikes. There was less crime. They had places where you could go smoke it, eat it, whatever, drink it, and nobody was getting in trouble. Nobody was committing crimes. It's the control. And see, here, again, back on what you said, freedom. Let's celebrate this freedom. Well, but you can't do drugs. But what if I want to do drugs? And then they turn around and sell this package deal of, oh, you got to be licensed as a medical physician to turn around and perform any type of medicine or selling medicine to anybody. And when it clearly states, and the Supreme Court said that states cannot license. So that means your cops aren't licensed. They're a private corporation. So they're basically your mafia that are turning around killing you, kidnapping you, and you stand there onto the side with a camera going, look at what these cops are doing, instead of standing up for the person that's being mistreated. Then, so then you're not free. And then if you're doing drugs, you're not free because they're going to turn around and beat you up for it and then throw you in jail and then tack on more years. And then here you are. If you don't pay your taxes, they'll take your stuff away. But then, again, where's the tax money going? On war on drugs. Why do we keep having all these wars? Because they got to keep feeding the monster.
That's right.
Keep feeding that monster. Oh yeah, listen, we got war on drugs. We got war over in Afghanistan. We got a war going on in Iraq. We got a war in Somalia. We got a war in Korea. We just got tons and tons of war. We need more taxes just to keep feeding that monster. You know what? Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that we're supposed to worry about other countries. Nowhere does it say that we're supposed to be having all these wars. And if we do, it's only supposed to be a certain amount of time. But
no, that's true. And they're supposed to end the war tax after the war is over, but they're not doing that because they got to keep that war going so that way they can still have the money coming in.
Yeah, and the thing is that our taxes would be almost next to nothing. But like you said, got to keep that war going.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, right back to what I was saying before. And then these millennials are all sitting on that tiny screen while all this is going on in front of them. And then they want to sit there and say, it's Gen X, it's Gen Z. Y'all, it's all your fault. Yeah, okay, whatever you say, boomer. Yeah, yeah. Y'all the one who created this problem. This problem's been going on for a long time. But the thing is, you need to remember, a lot of people didn't go to college back then. So people, yes, were imbeciles. They didn't know what was going on. They were just doing good, trying to get out of the daggum, depression from the 1930s. Because my mom was born just about, 4 years after the 1930s. And she's still alive. And that woman was scraping and scrimping and everything. She still lived, like, because that's what her family went through. They were scraping and scrimping for every little penny. And the thing is that these kids have no idea. If we had another thing like a Great Depression hit, how many would actually survive now? Especially without their little screens. Since they don't know how to cook, they don't know how to grow stuff, they don't know how to survive.
Yep.
Everything's on that little screen. And now,
well, that little screen in the palm of their hand called a cell phone now.
Well, no. Now your internet and your cell phone's gone because you can't afford it. Because if you stop and think, with this stupid crap that they're doing with this, you know what? We're shutting down Texas again. Well,
but you got to remember, after all this stuff, when people lost their job, they're still saving their cell phone and, and their cable and stuff. They're selling their shit to save that instead of selling their shit to feed themselves.
Yeah. But like I said, when all this gets shut down, now how are they going to survive? You remember, they're looking at this TikTok and Instagram and whatever else to, I gotta like that. I gotta send that. Hey, I did this and I sent it out. Hopefully everybody likes it and I get 1 million likes. And have they studied anything? Have they read anything? Do they know what's going on? I mean, because the news is just feeding you a line of BS, but then they don't know that because they don't do any research to make sure. Is the news media actually telling us the truth? No, we just trust them. You don't even know them.
Well, that's the whole point, and they keep going. And I always love when people go, I like that news reporter. She says this, and she says that, or he says this, and he says that, but they don't say anything.
I know, it's the runaround. It's the merry-go-round. That's all it is. Be careful of this. Be careful of that. We've got a Hurricane Kyle coming. And y'all.
Don't forget, we live in the what-if society, because what if you fell and broke your knee walking down that flight of stairs? So you shouldn't go down the flight of stairs because that's a safety hazard for you.
Yeah.
We played in the trees. How many times we fall out of trees when we grew up? We didn't get broken, but, some kids got their arms broken and stuff. I know a kid that got his collarbone broken falling off a 2-story back porch. But, shit, we all did shit, and then, and most of us fell out of trees. We didn't get hurt.
Yeah, but we were made like tanks. We were outside playing in the dirt.
Right, and the society now is becoming so sterilized and people don't even get it.
You know what this reminds me of? Seriously, this reminds me of that movie, Demolition Man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and don't forget we're going right into, what is that Charlton Heston movie?
Soylent Green.
Oh, now you got it. And we're actually living that. If you type in on the internet, you find out you got 7 cannibalistic restaurants in the United States, authorized and even partly funded by the FDA.
And you wonder why people are losing their minds. Because, see, that's the thing. Like the mad cow disease, they were actually feeding the cows, dead cows, carcasses to the cows. That's
right.
What causes mad cow disease.
That's why they're doing that to us, is they're feeding us sometimes human body parts, and that's why people are losing their minds in different parts of the country.
And that's also why they're getting so becoming Karens. Oh my God, put your mask on. Oh my God, you're drinking it in public. Yes, but I'm in my yard. So, but this in public. I'm going to call the cops. Seriously, people. I mean, come on. They have nothing else to bitch about but to bitch at others right there and then. It's like, seriously, y'all are so emotionally detached. There's this thing that we used to do back when I was young. It was called Mind Your Goddamn Business. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know. That's not a bad word.
Oh, okay.
Everybody says you're going to go to hell for saying it, and I've been dead too many times. I haven't gone to hell. I think they threw me out.
Well, no, they're afraid you're going to take over.
That's true too. You know I'm going to do that. If that's true,
Yeah.
I'm going down there and I'm going to have a hell of a time. But
Yeah,
see, that's the point. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, you're going to research their process and use it against them.
And the devil thinks he's got one on me. He's going to learn. See, and that's the point. We can sit there and go, the devil, God, we can play all these things, live in all this fear of what if, what if, what if, what if. And I watch people do the what if even with their own children, and it's like you can't keep doing the what if. How about saying, this is a fact, let's conquer it, let's do something about it. You know, how come people are not trying to do this and protect themselves? It's like, I was in the hospital 2 days, last week. No, actually, that was just 3 days ago. And I started getting into those conversations with these colored women. They're black. And so I started sniggering because they're talking Black Lives Matter, and I'm like, oh my God, what a racist group. You're the racist, you don't know, and all this stuff, and you don't know black heritage. And I said, I'm Native, man. My family's been here for hundreds of years. How long have you been here? You know, Black Lives Matter, Native matter more than Black lives, because are you going back to 1890? Are you Native yourself? Oh, you just don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, you didn't even hear a word I said. That's the problem with you people. You know? How come all lives don't matter? You're the racist, Black Lives Matter, so everything's black, so it matters, but you don't.
And you said you people.
Yeah.
They didn't get upset because of that?
No, that's what just stuns me, how these people are done.
They are, and the thing is that it's not getting any better to where people are. I mean, it somewhat is, but I mean, like what that woman said on that show, it's the tiny group of men that are buying up all this, and it's only a tiny group of us that are actually noticing it. The group, is starting to expand and grow a little bit bigger, because what is it? It's not because they actually want to learn or we're trying to look up and learn. It's because people are actually, I think, really getting fed up with all this BS that is going on. They're saying enough is enough. I mean, I heard that supposedly bikers were going to go down to Seattle, Washington, and straighten out those people over at Chaz.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. The bikers were going to go down there, and I heard the bikers were going to go up to Washington, D.C., and I haven't seen the bullshit. All I've seen is bullshit.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything or heard anything else. I heard the same thing. The thing is that a lot of people right now, they're just, I don't know, they're on the edge of maybe starting a civil war. Or becoming a... Well,
we're still fighting the Civil War. We haven't changed. We're still fighting for our freedom. So we haven't stopped the Civil War. We're still going on it.
I know that, but I'm talking about the people actually turn around and, grabbing guns and taking it out and just literally shooting people because of it, because they're getting tired, but they don't. They're not thinking anymore. They're running on emotions. They're getting tired. They're getting fed up. They're like, why isn't anybody doing something? Not knowing they are not supposed to. That's your job. That's where you have fallen short. That's why nothing's happening, is because it's not, Caesar and what's his name, Leningrad and Hitler, they didn't look for the answers on the outside. They looked with the answers within themselves, and that's what people are doing. They're expecting somebody from the outside to do something when the answer is lying within yourself. Learn what you need to learn, study what you need to study, learn how to write these instruments, file these criminal charges, and move on. Don't depend on these people because they don't care. They flat out don't care. They're making money hand over foot, and that's all they care about. The thing is, I still say that these all these foreign agents need to be sent out of the United States, but they're not going to do that. They're going to retrain them. And who's paying for it? Again, us.
Right.
Supposedly,
I mean, all
Q
these
says
foreign companies, we've been paying all these people, you know, I mean, for the wartime, for them educating their people, and we're the ones paying it.
we were paying it before, and we still got to pay them even more. I don't think that's
I know.
down right. But then supposedly, what do you call it? Q. I don't know who Q is, but supposedly Q's been putting out stuff saying that NASAR, which is some national financial group, is going to go back on the gold standard. And I was like, okay, but so what's going to happen to the debt? It's supposed to be forgiven. The thing is that, wait a minute. Yeah, but all this property these people bought doesn't belong to them.
Yep. And that's the point, because they bought it, you know, and that's the one thing that people don't realize. You can't be from a foreign country and own American soil. That says it in the Constitution.
That's what I'm saying. So you're going to forgive a debt that we didn't actually create, that y'all did, and then you gave property to people, to half the people that don't even, shouldn't even own property, but you're going to turn around and still charge, say that it's our debt and it's got to be forgiven. How does that work? That confuses me. I mean, that's...
Well, I want that to start doing, because I want that debt that's called the public trust, and it's supposed to be paying our water electricity bill. And see, that's what we're putting together right now, because we want to make sure we got the forms done and we got it correctly. I still got to do some more research. I got to put that letter together, but I got another project. I got 4 projects I'm trying to write up and get done right now. I bit off one thing that I have to jump on because I, put too many projects on the table.
Yeah, I know. That's why I think I haven't gotten any messages from you, because I noticed you've been busy, so I was like, okay. So I've been trying to read.
No, and then I had to take a week off. I went up to go take a week, and I literally went up to the mountains and going across the state of Oregon. I watched how much the forest has been butchered. I mean, there is no on the major roads and stuff you can see for hundreds of miles, there's no old growth timber anymore.
That's not good.
I got in an argument with some people when I was up in the mountains, and they're like, oh, cutting the trees down, that's good for the environment. The deer and elk like it because it's new area for them. And I'm thinking to myself, what morons.
Yeah, cutting trees
all
down.
All right, because now you got no deer, you got no elk. The salmon and the trout and the wild fish have nothing to have shade over, with the trees going over the creek beds and stuff. And the muddy water that most of the creek beds have now from the logging when it rains.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. They've been dumbed down so much, they think that is good for the environment when they have no idea. No, it being left alone is good for the environment.
Well, I don't know in Texas, but I don't know if you've had the pleasure of driving through, trees that are 400, 500, or 1,000 years old. And I've had and been through forests like that. I've even hunted in forests like that. And now it's gone.
No, we get is tumbleweeds. But no, we don't have trees that daggum tall, or that old, or that big. I mean, they're just a bunch of pine trees that grow up and just kick out pine cones and pine needles and drop sap all over your vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
But hunting, yeah, the only thing that tree is good for is to sit up in a deer stand and wait for the deer to come walking by.
No, I get it. That's the whole thing, man. And I've watched too many people sit there. I mean, I have to admit it that people call me a road hunter, but I just drive down the road, and there stands out, and I say dinner. So, I mean, I don't consider myself, going out there and go spend all day in the woods. You know, I've been fortunate. I've even one of my best shots is I drove around the bend, stopped, looked up at the tree line above me. You know, it was like 30 feet, 40 feet above me. And I got a 3-point buck standing right there. So I just sat there and pulled up, touched him right underneath the chin, and he fell right in the back of my truck. So, I mean, I couldn't argue. He wanted to go in my truck, so he did. So these are things that you look at life, you know, and people say, oh, you shouldn't hunt or fish that way. I mean, I've gone down the 45 or 30-degree angle mountainsides, going down and walking down through the creek beds for, 4 or 5 miles and hauling the, 30-pound trout or the steelhead or salmon back. Yeah, I did that in my younger years. Now I just want to take the boat out and bring it right there, take the net and make it easy. Of course, I'm elderly now, and I'm not a young buck, and I've had a lot of medical conditions. I got you. So anyhow, let's go ahead and wrap it up tonight. Anyhow, we appreciate the time, and then we'll like to thank everybody for joining us again, and we'll see you next Saturday. And that's the one thing is reevaluate what your freedom is. With that, may the Creator, the Great Spirit, and don't forget, without Mother, you don't have the Great Spirit, and you have no food, water, and shelter. Anyhow, y'all have a blessed evening.
And don't forget, without the Father, you don't have life. You forgot that one, Ed. But
no, you were going to add it.
Oh, I see. This is why I sometimes consider doing this with Ed is babysitting, because one, I got to watch the time. Because he'll just babble on, and 2, I have to remind him of some of this stuff. But no, guys, all you living men and women out there, I know you're a lot like me, where you're like, we'll just wait and see what happens, and we'll deal with what comes. Problem is, they're being extremely vocal, and any of you who are watching the same as I am knows who they are. So effectively, you need to start getting your instruments prepared. This is just my advice, but what you need to do is to get your instruments prepared, own yourself, own your children, own your property, and also put a monetary value in gold and silver, because that is the only lawful tender, on your life, on your family's life, and on your property. You put that all in an affidavit, and if no one rebuts it, then that is something you can take to an Article 3 court, and you'll have a solid case right there. Am I wrong on that, Ed?
Mm-hmm.
I am wrong?
No, and that's the point, because a lawyer can only represent corporations.
Right, and we're not corporations. We're not corporations. Now, our strawman account is technically a corporation because it's a fictitious, made-up entity. Because, I mean, you're not made out of straw. Ed's not, because he's got a brain, I'm pretty sure. He might be the Tin Man because he's had so much heart troubles, but still. The aspect is, you gotta act. I've already got my affidavit out there. If they come at me even once, first, I just tell them, I don't answer any questions. They ask, you don't answer questions? I don't answer any questions. Keep on repeating that to them. And if they take me, that is complete kidnapping, because 1, they didn't identify who they have. 2, I did not respond to them in any way other than I do not answer any questions. And 3, I am not a barracks lawyer, so this is all I know on this aspect, what I've been learning from Ed for these past, 3 years now, Ed?
Yep.
Actually, a little over 4 now. But still, it's the aspect of I've been learning this, and I am not the smartest due to some medical complications in the past, but I am still catching on. So if you living men and women can catch on as fast as me or even faster, we'll have more free out there, and when your neighbors or your family notice that you're not having the issues everybody else is, or you're not getting pulled over by the assassins for the corporation, they'll be wondering why, and you can explain it to them. Because what's the Christian attitude? You can preach all the time, but you have to live as an example. Well, if it starts working for you, and it actually starts working, then they'll see you as an example and wonder, what the hell have you been doing? Why are you so lucky? And if they come and ask you, then you can tell them, oh, this right here. Go to new.organtrackers.com or .org and learn on there. First, learn about strawman account, because that is actually one of the best cornerstones to start in. When you realize what they're using to make you into a fictitious entity, then you actually have a strong foundation to actually build on, making it so you can separate your fictitious entity from you and eventually claim yourself as a living man or woman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any other way to point this out. Except,
and when you always do your paperwork, don't forget put in Title 18 Corpus Delicti 3771 in all your paperwork. You're the injured man or woman. You have to prove that you're a living man or woman in Title 18 3771, the Corpus Delicti, the injured man or woman. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's a good point. See, Ed knows all these, and he's not going to be around forever, so you guys might be thinking, oh, I'll get to it eventually. I'm sorry, Ed's already been on death's door multiple times, guys. And the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be, because there's going to be others like me, or people that are living men and women that Ed have dealt with, that are doing this, and eventually the corporation's going to see it and put even more roadblocks in the way so that you can't be free very easily. Right now, it's relatively simple and easy and straightforward. They're going to start making things so convoluted, even more than they have. So you better start doing it now so you don't have as big of an issue later. And with that, guys, take your freedom. It's that simple. Take your freedom. We are America. We're supposed to be free. So, are you free, or are you a corporate slave? Are you a corporate indentured servant? That's what you got to ask yourself and really look at it. Do you pay a mortgage? You're an indentured servant. Do you pay taxes? You're an indentured servant, and you're part of the corporation. Do you have credit cards?
Well, let me add one other thing. It's like they've been putting on our water bill in the city of Toledo. They're calling us tenants now. Tenants. So we have to file on the CD because they're claiming they own us through our soil now.
It's another way for them to, once you actually send in and pay that bill, gee, you just admitted you're a tenant.
You agreed to the contract.
Exactly, right there. You agreed to that contract. Same thing with jury summons. You know, the whole, you get to be part of the jury. Well, no, I don't accept that contract. I'm a living man, woman. I'm a lawful bloodline native, non-combatant civilian, and I do not accept this contract. I mean, that right there should stop them dead in their tracks from even thinking about sending, because they claim jury service is, you have to do it by law. I'd like to see that law.
That's right.
And if it's a
Statute code and administrative rules, not law.
Yep, and I've scrolled that on the thing. So, guys, you got to ask, are you an indentured servant? If you are an indentured servant, well, sorry, you're going to have to get yourself free. I'm not an indentured servant. I got a few complications I'm working through, but I've already claimed myself, claimed my wife, claimed my family, and my wife's claimed me and my and my children too. So, effectively,
and that's the point that he just told you. If you don't claim your family, each other, that way when you don't have that claim on your woman or your child, you don't have standing. Go ahead.
Exactly. And the bloodline does matter. People's, I will say people, because most of them are non-entities, because they don't want to know about this, but people keep saying there's no such thing as bloodlines and everything like that. I'm going to point out a very, very specific point right here. Think on this. Why do the royalty usually marry so close in the family? And with that, guys, have a good 4th of July, and remember, you're an American. Act like it.